Hello folks, Y Guy here again. Welcome to my home on this very beautiful summer day. I've got an awful lot I want to cover, so I'm going to talk pretty fast if I can and still try to make sense. Alright, it's just that I get so tired of people pulling these specific verses out of context to cause people to fear and not trust God. It just frankly pisses me off. And today is one of those days. So the name of this video is called The Y Guy Asks, Did Jesus really say, "Depart from me into eternal fire"? Did he really say that? You know? And people who claim, the same people who claim that Jesus has authority, has the keys of death, and then they'll continue to say death, keys of death, and the keys of hell, because their Latin translated Bible happens to mention hell in it, all right? And, you know, if I just want to understand something by this belief. Am I to understand that Jesus has authority? Okay, since he has the keys, does he have the authority over a place? By the way, the Bible does say he does have authority over everything. Anyway, over a place that his loving Father created to torture people endlessly? And this isn't considered hopeless? Okay? If Jesus does have all authority, you know, as the Bible claims, which he does, that would mean that the sacrifice he made on behalf of the whole world, of all of creation, would be for those in, if hell exists, it would be for those in hell as well, because they're part of all of creation, are they not? So Jesus has authority over them. You know, so why is there a need for hell? Okay? Or I should say, there is no need for hell. Or Jesus endorses hell. Let's look at the other side of the coin. Jesus does endorse hell as a punishment for sins that he was unable to pay for. You say things aren't adding up. You know, others tell me that I'm viewing hell completely the wrong way, that it's more of a state of being, you know, where evil is being destroyed. This still sounds like people are making yet another excuse to believe in hell. You know, what a person calls a state of being, the Bible calls the lake of fire. And the lake of fire is a process, folks. It's not a place. Check out my video, the Y Guy explains the lake of fire or whatever, because it's in the presence of God. All right, and even the Latin-based Bibles say that hell will be cast into it. So, and yet, ignorant people will say the lake of fire is hell, even though hell is cast into it. I'm sorry, but you can't have it both ways. That's like saying your bathroom is in your toilet rather than your toilet in your bathroom. Goofy analogy. Anyway, what else did somebody write me? And they said that Jesus does seem to indicate that there was a place created to correspond to that process, that it was to keep evil spirits away from humanity and under judgment. It was never intended for humans. In fact, if you ever feel condemnation, that's not from God, it's demons trying to get you to share in their own condemnation. God never intended condemnation for humans, which is true, but only salvation and eternal bliss with him. Now, first off, I don't know of any instance or any example, circumstance anywhere within Scripture where that took place, where a demon was, trying to get somebody to feel the condemnation that they're feeling. Anyway, because what this person wrote, it's a wonderful sounding concept, yes, but there's a huge hole in it. If there really is such thing as devil, or I should say demons, or evil spirits, regardless, are they not created by God as well? They didn't create themselves, and some other God before God didn't create them, because there shall be no other gods before me. You know, are they not also loved by God as part of creation that will be reconciled? I don't even want to chase that rabbit, that stuff. Putting aside the evil spirit aspect for a moment, which many obviously consider an important point to prove the existence of hell, you know, Jesus does seem to, this person says Jesus seems to indicate, and that key word is indicate, that there was a place created to. Now here's the thing, nobody can agree on what that place is. You know, Some call it the lake of fire, like I said. Some call it Hades. Some call it hell. Some call it eternal, being tortured and burned for an eternity. And others call it just separation from God, where people won't be tortured and tormented. And nobody can make up their freaking minds, okay, on this stuff. Because there isn't anything to base it on other than, okay, the imagination. So those who believe, because indicated that those who believe that there was a place created, they use a verse that I gave you a hint of in my title, that's out of Matthew 25:41, and your Latin-based Bible says it this way: then he will also say to those on his left, depart from me, accursed ones, into the eternal fire which has been prepared for the devil and his angels. Did Jesus really say this? Did he really? Is this the same Jesus who said, for God so loved the world? In John 3:16? And for all of creation? Because that's what the world means in that cosmos. All right? Or the same Jesus who said, depart from me into eternal fire. Same Jesus? Is he the one that said, if anyone hears my sayings and does not keep them, I do not judge him, for I did not come to judge the world, but to save the world. John 12:47. How about this Jesus who said God did not send the Son into the world to judge the world, but the world would be saved through him, in John 3:17. It's right after the John 3:16. Anyway, I want to just veer off just for a second here, because your Latin-based Bibles will use the word might in that verse, that the world might be saved from him. That means maybe and maybe not. Sorry, folks, look in the original language. That word might doesn't exist. Okay? It says will. Will be saved, period. All right? Prove me wrong. Let me see. What about the same Jesus who supposedly said, depart from me into eternal fire? What about Jesus who said the Father judges no one in John 5:22? Don't you see, when you run across a verse like the one in Matthew 25:41 about departing and throwing in a fire, eternal fire, when you run across those kind of verses, you know, you've got to properly judge it. If anything, judge yourself, judge your heart, judge your motive. Why are you believing that way? That's why I'm called the why guy, because I ask, why do you believe what you believe? And where did that belief originate? And I ask myself too. Self, why do you believe this certain way? And where did that belief originate? And I research it. So I'm trying to get you to do, okay? We'll see. When comparing these other verses, immediately, I don't know about you folks, but I do. I sense something wrong. When I compare that verse in Matthew 25 to all these verses in John that I just quoted you, something's off. Something is wrong. They all can't be right. All right? So either a person's understanding is wrong or the translation is wrong. So I want to read it out of my Greek, and I'm coming to a quick close here. Then shall he be declaring to those on his left, go from me, cursed, into the Aeonian fire made ready for the adversary and his messengers. Now, this is where it gets good. I'm going to read it out of the expanded Greek, where they take each individual Greek word and they tell you what the real meanings is. And anyway, bear with me. This is kind of cool. Matthew 25:41. At that point, he will also say to those at the places on his left, you folks, having been brought under the curse. That's talking about the law, curse of the law. All of us have been under that. So he's referring to all of us. He's not cursing anyone. He's just making it known that we've been brought under the curse. And yet the Latin Bible says, you accursed ones. Anyway, continue proceeding on your way away from me. See, the people because of the curse of the law, it causes us to focus in on the law and go that direction, away from that direction, away from Christ. So we're departing away from him when we're going after the curse. That's all he's saying in this. Jesus isn't cursing anyone and saying, depart from me. Not when you read it in the original language. Anyway, as I said before, continue proceeding on your way away from me into the Aeonian fire. Aeonian simply means a time, a fire, a time. Oh, it actually, in the expansion explains it. He says, or for an undetermined period of time, the fire which comes with the age. This is the expanded version part. The fire pertaining to and having its source in the age-lasting fire, the fire having the quality and characteristics of the age. And then it goes back into the original verse. The one having been prepared and made ready for the person. You notice how it says the person who thrusts something through folks. This doesn't say the devil and his angels. It's talking about a person. People who thrust something through folks. Something what? Adversarial. The adversary. This is the insert, by the way. This is the expanded part. The adversary, one who casts something through the midst and causes division. As well as, and then this part isn't expanded. It says, as well as for his agents, and then expanded messengers. I'm sorry, folks, but not sorry, I shouldn't say that, but it doesn't say the same thing in the Greek as it does in the Latin, does it? Not even close. It doesn't even imply the same thing. So I'm just trying to get this clear. Again, I get so tired of it. And this whole thing out of Matthew 25, first off, it's a parable. I think it's the one about the ones on the left, ones on the right, sheep and the goats. I'm pretty sure it's about that one. But you know, in the same chapter, it also mentions individuals. Okay, the guy with the talents and the one previous that, I was an individual. I can't remember the exact context of it, but I do remember it being an individual. Yet on this particular one, talking about Matthew 25:41, in verse 32 is when the parable starts, and it's talking about nations, not individual, not an individual. Okay, I hope you're catching that. And it's talking about stewardship of nations. Again, not individuals. And it uses hyperbolic language. Hyperbolic language is just strong language that kind of, to stress a point, slightly exaggerated. And that's where the word, that's why the word fire is used. That's why the word cursed is used, you know, under a curse. You know, somebody could just say you're under, you know, it could have been written you're under a judgment of some sort, you know, because the law judges you and stuff. But no, let's use the word cursed. You see, but the point is, no eternity was ever mentioned. But yet your Latin-based Bible says eternity, eternal fire, please. Hell wasn't mentioned, and yet every Christian I know says this proves that hell was created for the devil and his angels. The devil and his angels weren't even mentioned. Hades wasn't mentioned. Gehenna wasn't mistranslated in this and mentioned in it. Nothing. There, I got that off my chest. Thank you for viewing. Look me up on Facebook under a group called the Y Guy Group. Also, if you're going to leave a message or leave a comment about this, telling me I'm full of beans, if you can tell me I'm full of beans by proving it, you know, with some substance, not name calling, and not just being disgusted with me. Because, you know, we're all in this together. We all see through a glass dimly. I don't have a complete handle on this, and I certainly know you don't either, because we all see through a glass dimly, not just moi. Okay? Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, preferably thumbs up. No, I'm just kidding. And consider subscribing. Thank you for viewing.